Hey there, you're listening to the Not So Breakfast Show with Sasha and Ish. You are listening to the Not So Breakfast Show, the podcast for leadership and career development. Today, Sasha and myself are discussing how do you hang on and have a little bit of hope when everything seems a bit crazy out there. Plus, we may have discovered the secret to our friendship. Maybe that's why we've got such a good friendship, because if you rant to me, I probably don't have an opinion. I probably didn't know what was going on. We talk about the facts of life.
We all managed to be the fastest sperm that beat millions of other sperms to get to the egg. Go us. That was a good start, right? We're winners from the beginning.
And we find out what happens when you eat 6-year-old sago. And It was in the back of the pantry, and I was like, I haven't had that in years. Obviously, because when I pulled it out, it had expired like 6 years ago. Like, Emma kept saying, I'm not eating it. I was like in year 7 when that was good. Anyway, that's the show. Let's get it. Alright, welcome to the Not So Breakfast Show today, and this is the one about how to maintain hope when everything feels hard. And if there was a message that you needed, or I needed right now, it is this one, because things feel hard, Sash, and I do want a little bit of hope that it's going to be okay.
Yes, it's going to be okay.
Woohoo! End of podcast.
Excellent.
Oh no, we should go for a little bit longer. Okay.
Do you reckon? Look, here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, it's winter, and we have had more rain than we've had since, I don't know, like 50 years. It's been wet, 2 hours of sunshine in Christchurch for the month of July. So people are doing it hard. Everything feels hard. There's the growing gap, the inequality gap, the cost of living crisis, inflation is up, people's mortgages are going up, and that's if you've even been lucky enough to get a mortgage. And it's just feeling like the pandemic is, people are saying it's over, and it's like, well, no, because we're getting sick, and I don't have enough staff to come in, and my coffee shops aren't open.
And monkeypox is on the doorstep.
Monkeypox is coming, it's here, and there's this real sense that people are over it. And you and I are both really optimistic people. But I've been thinking about what is it about hope that is so important, so necessary, and how can we maintain and hold on to hope when times are tough? The great irony, of course, is right when you have no hope or you're running low is exactly when you need it. So let's have a chat about that today.
Yeah. It's so funny even when you flick me this topic, because this morning I was doing my video blog, which is an update I do for our business to our department managers and club managers. And at the end, I just did a rant and just basically said, news, breakfast show, AM show, every piece of media that you go on right now is just doom and gloom, and there is positive stuff out there. There is hope out there. Rant. And interestingly, a few emails coming back saying I needed to hear that. Because I think, it's easy to just be looking at everything that's going on. So you've got some great focus for us and some great ideas and maybe some great rationale around hope and how we cling on to it.
Yeah.
All right, hit me with it. What you got, number one?
Well, so the first thing that I want us to think about, is we've talked about this before, is the old Stockdale paradox, which is this idea that hope needs to be rooted in some kind of fact for it to be effective. Hope is not just positivity that's kind of blind. It's not Pollyanna going, as the Titanic is going down, Pollyanna's playing her violin going, it's going to be okay. That's not the kind of hope that we're talking about. And we're also not talking about the hope where you go, are things going to get better? I hope so. And it's kind of a resigned sort of hopefully without actually doing anything about it. So what the Stockdale paradox talks about is the importance of having a rational basis for your hope. And this links really nicely into what you've just been talking about, Ish, which is control of your inputs. And I think, one of my favorite books, and I recommend everybody in the whole entire world reads it. It's called Factfulness, and it's by this guy, Hans Rosling. And what he talks about is how wrong we often are in our perceptions of the world. and how the media feeds us these binary opinions because it thrives on chaos and conflict. And so it others people. So we look at other people and go, well, they're different than us, and we get envious of them, or we see what our differences are. When in actual fact, there's a lot that unites us and that brings us together. And so if you find yourself listening to too much of the wrong radio station or hearing too much of the disaster, we get this disproportionate feeling that everything is turned to shit. And to be clear, there's a lot that's turned to shit at the moment. So we're not in denial about that. But when you actually look at it, in many respects, there's never been a better time to be alive.
True.
In terms of the march of human progress. And what Hans Rosling lays out in this book is that rather than talking about developed nations and developing nations, he talks about 4 income levels. And when you read through this in the world, you see that us and people listening to this podcast, we are in the top 1 billion in the world that have access to amazing things. And he describes how 1 billion people live. And it's basically they eat the same food every day if they're lucky. Then how the next level of income live, and the next level beyond that. And I don't think we should have hope based on how miserable it is for other people in the world. But when we actually look at the facts of our situation, we go, man, over the last 300 years, humankind has come a heck of a long way. And we have it within us to solve the problems we're facing now. I heard this great comedian the other day. You were talking about the rain, the amount of rain we've had. That's climate change, right? The climate is undoubtedly changing. Make no mistake. But this guy says he goes forward to the future. And in the future, he gets there and he says, "Oh, can I have a glass of water?" And they say, "No, there's no, water's gone. It's just disappeared." And he said, "Oh, that's interesting because in our time, we used to just drink it by the bucket full. We used to have water fights even. And if there was a clean glass, we used to rinse that out with water before we used it." Kind of really reckless. And the guy from the future says, "Yeah, but didn't you know?" He goes, "Yeah, we did know. Well, we did know, but we didn't care." They said, "Oh, well, you were ruining the planet by going on holidays in jet planes. Why were you doing that?" And the comedian goes, "To go somewhere hotter." So it's kind of like we're facing some big challenges right now in terms of climate change and this kind of conflict within the world, but it's within our capacity as humans to solve it. We've solved really big problems before. The way that medical advances have taken place, the way that we no longer send our children to work for the most part, the way that women have been incorporated in society, the way that we have been able to find expression for people from all different walks of life and all different faiths. There's lots to be hopeful about, right?
Yeah.
So the point about having the rational basis for hope is to believe in the power of humanity to solve these things. It's tough right now, but we've solved big challenges before and we can solve big challenges again. And that's a rational basis for hope.
Do you think part of it is also just the amplification and access to information? Because back in the 80s, I don't want to go on a big thing about the 80s again. We all know I love the 80s. But it was kind of like the front page of the news, or you watch the news at night, and then maybe someone was talking about it, maybe. But the internet wasn't around, and, so you maybe got bad news a couple of times a day. But now it just seems to be wherever you are looking, or when you're on your phone, or when you're in your email, or when you're watching a TV program, everything is topical, everything is reactive and immediate, and people also have an opinion on everything that's in your face. So that amplification of whatever rabbit hole you are down sometimes makes that feel so much heavier than the reality of maybe even what it is.
That is so true. What an apt point. If you think how many times we get breaking news. And so I'll be in my home in Kirikiriroa, Hamilton, and I'll get a breaking news alert that a car accident has taken place down south and a motorist has been injured. And I go, "Oh no, that poor family and that injured motorist." And, that's great to have empathy for people, but my life would have been fine without knowing about the car crash. Like, I didn't need that interruption. I'm not going to go and physically help the person down south. I don't even believe in God, so I'm not even sending up a prayer. So it's like my life has changed in absolutely no way, except I've been distracted and I've been aware that something negative has happened, and it's not something that adds to my life in any way. So I need to take control over those interruptions. And the second thing that you talked about was everyone has an opinion. And what I love about this Factfulness book from Hans Rosling is he defines factfulness, and he says it's the stress-reducing habit of only carrying opinions for which you have strong supporting facts.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that again. The stress-reducing habit of only carrying opinions for which you have strong supporting facts. And when I read that, I'm reminded about how many things I get fired up about that I don't have anywhere near enough information to even have a view.
Yeah.
And yet I do. Boy, I do. Like, my son just asked me before, who are my top 23 picks for the All Blacks? Because the All Blacks, our national rugby team, are losing a bit at the moment. Big topic of conversation. And I was about to start naming players, and then I went, oh, you know what? I haven't actually watched enough rugby this year to have an opinion, but I do have an opinion that the coach should be sacked. I'm like, what is that based on? Yeah. Wow. Do you relate to that?
Oh, so much, eh? Like, it's almost like I feel like I need to have an opinion. So then if it's something I disagree with, and then I'm kind of getting fired up, but it's like, why am I disagreeing? Like, why do I even have to have an opinion on this at all? Like, I'm not even affected by it personally, but for some reason it's almost like, well, I do need to have an opinion, and then I need to express that opinion. But you're exactly right. It's only based on my perception of my reality about that situation. I've got no idea on, the players and what they're doing, or the event that's happened and what the background or the context is. All I have is the immediacy of it, and yes, I should express an opinion, but yeah.
And think about what it's doing to our bodies in a physiological sense as well, right? One of the reasons we don't have as much hope, or we find it hard to hold on to hope, is because we are putting ourselves into this continual cycle of fight or flight. Yeah. So we're getting this adrenaline surges all the time. Just now, while we're recording, I've got a notification from our national newspaper. It's just popped up on my phone now. It's just distracted me, and it says something about the New Zealand economy is in a terrible crisis. And so if I read that and I think about that for my business, I'm immediately going to have a cortisol response. I'm going to have adrenaline in my body. I'm going to start worrying and panicking. That is so hard for my body to deal with, because we are trained to perceive threats and respond accordingly. This is not a threat to my my life. I'm not going to die if the economy collapses. Yeah. I mean, it'll be hard, but we're not an imminent threat of collapse,
Yeah, and then these are the ones that are thrown at us. But then sometimes when you get into that negativity cycle, you just make up your own disasters. Like, Joe is on Waiheke at the moment. They're away doing a senior leadership sort of retreat for a couple of days. And for some reason I woke up this morning and I was just thinking, imagine if like Rangitoto exploded. Like if that volcano exploded, how would Joe get home? And like what? And I was like, wait a second, where did that even come from? And I must have dwelled on it for 2 or 3 minutes, but it physically was like kind of making me worried. And I was like, far out. I got enough going on in the world with that being thrown at me without coming up with my own disasters.
Yeah, you are writing your own disaster movie. And because it's a disaster movie, I will hire a helicopter.
Yes.
Come to Auckland. We will get in my boat and we will go and get Joe. It's okay, Joe, we're coming. We're coming. Swim around the lava. I read this great thing the other day and it can't be like a real stat, because how would you know this? And I know we're talking about only have opinions based on facts, but here we go anyway. And it said something like, I don't know, let's make up a number, 95% of the things you worry about never happen. And I think this is a classic example. Rangitoto is going to explode, erupt at some stage, but it's not likely to be the next couple of days while Joe's on Waiheke. And if it does, this podcast will go viral. Be like, Ish predicted it. That's your new career, the soothsayer who dreams the future.
Now I'm going to be sweating it till she gets home.
Well, now there's an upside.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's true. We'll go global.
New career.
Nice. New career.
So the thing about maintaining hope when things are hard is you've got to control the things that you can control. And I really notice this about myself, is how often when I start to feel a little bit flat, I behave like I feel a little bit flat. And it's okay to have a little bit of a break and a little bit of a lie down on the couch. But I know the things that refuel my cup. I know the things that refill my cup. And so I want to be disciplined about doing those without waiting for the feeling. So I know that watching some comedy to make me laugh and to light me up is important. I know that getting a walk in, being in nature, even if it's raining outside, I'm better off for getting out in the rain. So I think we have to require it of ourselves when we are finding it tough to actually dig that little bit deeper and say, what are the things that serve me right now? Dr. Lucy Hone, our friend who runs the New Zealand Institute of Resilience and Wellbeing, talks about, is what you're doing now harming or helping you? And to be choosing activities that help you so you can keep your cup refilled and replenished. I think that's a really important part in order to hold on to hope to get through what we're facing right now.
Yeah. And as part of my rant this morning, one was on inputs, but two was exactly this, like changing your focus. Pick a skill. Pick something that you want to develop, that you've been wanting to work on, because one, the distraction of that new skill is great. You can go down a rabbit hole on something that will benefit you, and it feels like you're growing. And when you feel like you're growing, you're developing, it feels like you're useful. And if you feel like you're useful, it makes opportunities seem more achievable. And it might be the skill of public speaking. It might be the skill of getting better at photography. It might be the skill of understanding how the video mechanisms and everything work on your phone so you can do that better. Whatever it is, you will benefit from having a positive focus and something that feels like it's building you and moving you forward.
Long-time listeners will appreciate that. For us, I'm learning how to do the text with the little invisible ink and the shouting features, and I'm even teaching it to younger people that I work with, and that's been great. I think we want to be really conscious too about moving towards a better future as much as we want to get away from an awful past. So I know I've got a couple of friends that are in some tricky relationships at the moment, and they keep relitigating something that happened 2 years ago. And then remember when he this or she did that at my birthday when I was 24. And I'm like, yeah, but you're 44 now. So you probably need to focus on fresh grievances if you really want to get my sympathy, because you stayed with that person for 20 years since they did that thing on your 24th birthday, right? So what are the stories that you are telling yourself about your situation now? And rather than focus on how shitty it is where you are, direct your energy to the good things that are ahead of you if you can just take action. What is the new world that you are creating? And I find this to be enormously helpful, because I can get very low about some of the things that are happening in the world, particularly things that affect me as a woman. And if I spend too long there, I can get really disheartened, and I end up going, global warming is great because I've got 10 hot summers coming up before we all die. It used to be 20 good summers, right? Now it's down to 10. And that's not helpful for anybody. It's not good for me. It's not good for my family. And it's not good for the planet if we all give up on what actually might be possible and achievable. So I think if we can focus on what we're moving towards, then that's really helpful.
Maybe that's why we've got such a good friendship, because if you rant to me, I probably don't have an opinion. I probably didn't know what was going on.
You get off the phone going, oh, I should be worried about this.
I can't be worried. I've got no room. Rangatona's blowing up.
I'm busy learning how to fly a helicopter on a video game in case I need it in real life.
We'll be right back.
If there was one skill that could double your income, advance your career, and increase your ability to influence, it is the skill of presenting. Whether it's on stage, in the boardroom, or at a job interview, the 30-Minute Presenter program will help take you to the next level. So check out our Instagram page, click the link in the bio, and get started on the 30-Minute Presenter program. Okay, so what else could we do to maybe cling on to this hope or focus more on the hope side of things?
Well, I think you always want to look for the helper. You remember we were talking about it at Harvard, that realization for me that people are good and we should just ask for help more.
Yeah.
So I think focus your energy and look and see who is taking action in the world, who is trying to make a difference, and get aligned with them and be an energy vampire who kind of sucks the energy off them, and that's okay. There are people around us that do inspire us. You think about Barack Obama and what a sort of symbol of hope he was to so many people. There's plenty of others in the world that are doing things that can inspire us. And one of the cool things about social media channels like TikTok is, sure, it's got people spending a lot of time showing us their muscles, but it's also got people sharing stories of inspiration and hope, and we can access those more easily than we ever could before. And we get to see everyday heroes who are doing simple things really well in ways that lift and encourage and inspire others. And we can be inspired to be those people ourselves, just the little things that we can do that make a difference for others. And I think that lifts us and makes us hopeful as well. Okay, so the last two things that I can share with you, one is this idea that we can do hard things. We've done hard things before. Getting born is really hard, and we've all managed that. we all managed to be the fastest sperm that beat millions of other sperms to get to the egg. Go us! That was a good start, right? We're winners from the beginning. Made it out the birth canal or out the sunroof. Big high praise to us. We learned to read. Reading is hard.
Yeah.
Not everybody can read, but most of us can read enough to kind of get by life. We learned to talk, most of us. That's hard. Have you tried to learn another language?
Oh, yes, because I'd like to learn some Te Reo, and I've been practicing a few words. I just find it really difficult, and I'm, doing the right apps, and I've got the passion, but man, learning a new language, because you're in that mindset where you're like, okay, I'm saying the word, what does the word mean again? Like you're translating it. Man, I've full credit to people who are speaking 2-3 languages. You're just going, wow, that is so cool.
It's amazing, right? And I don't want to blow too much smoke up your arse, but you've already learned one of the hardest languages in the world.
Oh, yes.
You're amazing.
Klingon.
English is named for you.
English.
English. You've already done that. That's another hard thing that you've learned to do.
Yeah,
and you
true.
can walk and run, and we can do hard things. You've been through some tough things. I've been through some tough things. We've all persevered, and it hasn't always been easy. But I think one of the ways that we can be hopeful about what's ahead is to remember stuff that we've done in the past and we've got through. And that's good for us. Draw on those resources and reserves to go, yep, we can go again. Get some rest, and then we're going to go again. I'm going to rest and we're going to go again, because we're not going to give up. The things that we care about are worth fighting for. And the last thing that I want to share is a little bit paradoxical, and it might be because I have a Russian name, and that is that the student must suffer. So when you visit Russia, and I've never been, and it's not just Russia, it's sort of a stereotype that there are certain sort of countries in the world that have low expectations of what life may or may not bring them. And if you spend a lot of your life in cold darkness, suffering is part of life. That's a terrible Russian accent. We should probably edit this bit out. But anyway.
You know it won't be.
The point, lots of kind of Eastern mysticism and other world religions and Christianity to a certain extent as well talks about the importance and the power of suffering. Catholics are right into suffering as well, in terms of it being a place where we learn. We learn about ourselves and we learn about endurance. And every now and again where something gets hard for me, I go, I wish it was easy. But I'm learning so much through this process, and a certain amount of suffering and pain is good for us. We do not want to be those lawnmower parents that just clear the path in front of our children, because what they will learn through a little bit of jungle experience is good for them. You think about weight training. It has to be a little bit hard for the muscle to respond.
That's right.
So, when you're feeling the absence of hope, we can look within ourselves and say, maybe this is the hard stuff. What is this teaching me? What am I learning here? And when you get through the other side, remembering what that feels like so we can go and help others when they are also going through that tough stuff. I just think that, the right amount of suffering is good. Too much suffering is bad. Good luck. I hope you get the first and not the second.
If you're going to put a percentage on it,
73% suffering. Year I was born, 73. It was good, right? Just the right amount of cancer, please.
And then 27% hot summers.
Look at you and your maths.
Thanks, man. You don't know how big the audience doesn't know how big the gap was between that and the answer, but just for the record, it was no editing there.
Instantaneous. Instantly, it was right there. You've been doing some sales training. Amazing.
So we've been talking about holding on to hope. Even though it feels hard, you can maintain your hope. Learn from those experiences. Remember, the experiences we go through are shaping us. They're honing us. They're developing us. Pressure makes diamonds, and the meaning that you wrap around those events is powerful. So make sure that you do focus on that positivity stuff that's out there. And when you go through the suffering thing, think, this is developing me. It is helping me get stronger. It's helping me grow. The student must suffer a little bit. Just make sure that it's not overwhelming you, and make sure that you control your focus on everything and try and get perspective on stuff as well. It is a great time to be alive, and you can fill your cup, and you are in control of a lot more than you think you are. So get out there, hold on to hope. It is going to be sunny at the end of the rainy day. All right, Sash, what's going on? I'm missing the banter. People have been saying, where's the casual conversations at the end? Actually, no one's been saying that. But
no one listens. No one's out there.
Do you reckon they just hang up at the end of that? They go, man, that was a banger of an episode, but here they go again. I've been getting back into scrambled eggs.
Yes, yum.
Yeah, the last 3 mornings, I've just got up and made myself scrambled eggs on toast, and I'm loving it.
That's amazing. It's hard for me to eat eggs since Emma keeps reminding me that they're chicken periods.
Oh, yeah. Boiled chicken ovulation.
Yeah. Oh. I have to work so hard to not have that in my head when I eat them. Isn't that the power of your mind, right? Like what you see when... Or the power of association. Like once you've had a big night out and you've chundered something up, it's really hard to eat that again. I can't go near Black Sambuca.
Oh, wow.
Once I was really sick, just like with a really bad flu and a little bit of a vomiting bug. And I had a boyfriend, brought me around this creamy chicken soup, and it was really delicious, but it's so associated for me with being sick and with him that I can't really ever eat creamy chicken soup again.
Yeah. Well, Sam, she doesn't. There's certain things that she had in hospital, and now she just can't eat them because it's associated with the hospital. But the flavour of orange for her, like orange, just there's something about that because it kind of tastes like the orange Pamol of past, and yeah, weird, eh?
Yeah, those powerful associations. The way our parents wreck us. I mean, you've ruined oranges for Sam. What were you thinking with the orange Pamel? No one uses the orange Pamel. Everyone uses berry.
Oh, man. All right, I might try and shoot up on some berry Pamel later, and that'll give me some hope.
I did the other day. I needed some painkiller, and it must have been an old Pamel from maybe when my sister was visiting. And I was doing the maths to work out how much I had to drink to turn the baby Pamel into an adult dose based on my current weight. It's like the whole bottle. I'm like, I don't think I can do it.
It's like swinging it, mixing it with your vodka. We had some sago the other night, and it was...
What is sago? Is that like rice pudding?
Yeah, no, it's kind of like tapioca, yeah, like a milk pudding. And it was in the back of the pantry, and I was like, I haven't had that in years. Obviously, because when I pulled it out, it had expired like 6 years ago. Like... Emma kept saying, I'm not eating it. I was like in year 7 when that was good. So, but I thought, well, it's all dried. It's not like there's any liquid. It's kind of like a rice, right? So I thought, just give it a go. So we opened it up and I cooked it up and it tasted fine. So I don't know why they put the expiry date on sago.
Sago has no flavour anyway. How would you know if it had gone off?